So I wanted to film an update. I did raise up the front of the drag slash build, and I wanted to film what I'm doing. You can see I've got some bolt holes up here already, and I did lower the back of the octane because it was just sitting too high in the back and too low up front. So I also adjusted the wheelie bar up out of the way. So I might lower the back a little more, but it's looking pretty good right now. Sides are they still line up. Working on a front splitter for this downforce. So I am going to do something like this with plastic. That's why I raised it up. But I'm gonna work on that, getting that in there, because trying to keep the air from going underneath this thing. Because I really don't want to cut out holes in the windows to release some of the air pressure. And the other thing I'm working on is this. I do have an onboard audio system that I took off my first drag slash, and I was going to do it on that and never got around to it. I've got one speaker mounted in it now. I'm going to work on the other speaker on the body, and I do have it all wired up already. So got it mounted up here in the front because I definitely need to get some weight up front. My wire management, as you can see, is really clean. Got to keep your wires clean in this thing. I have added a fan. I got to get a splitter to hook up the wires to the fan, because with the onboard audio you need that plug. So everything's coming out really clean. So as you can see, the onboard audio works really well and adds some weight to the front. So here's the drag slash. I also did glue down the tires, so they're all glued onto the rims now. I've also balanced them. So something you got to do on the drag cars is get these things balanced, or they'll hop. I have tested it. As you see, there is some rubber missing, and as you can tell by it not touching this edge, factory, they're cambered in a little bit. So I'm going to adjust these links out and get the rear tires flat. I do know that they are towed in because they are meant for off-road. So as you can tell, I believe they're 2 degrees towed in. So I'm going to flip the rear knuckles left to right, which should straighten that out. It might give me more. If not, I know I have some 0 degree rear knuckles that'll it'll bring that to 0. And I have to align the front as well. So I'm going to be working on that, and then I'll be testing it tomorrow morning, because right now it's nighttime. So just got home from work on a Friday, so figured come out here and get some of this stuff done. So I'm going to work on mounting the other speaker in there. The onboard audio sound cool. I did get the oil in the shocks, and as you can see, I got a pretty thick weight up front. See how slow it comes up? And the reason I do heavy weight in the front and I do a thinner weight in the rear is because when I take off, I want it to squat. And if it picks up the rear wheels, I don't want the suspension to travel. You see how slow the wheels go down? Watch. I'll show you what's going on. Maybe I can catch this on film. So what happens is when you launch and you pick up, you want the wheels to come off the ground. You see how they drop? So that's going to help hold the front end down. And you see it settles really slowly. So when I launch, the wheels will go up in the air, and then that gives me time to get the throttle down. You see how slow that is? So you kind of want a really thick weight in here just to try to keep some weight on the front. You don't want the suspension to be soft and travel and extend and push this rear end or this front end up. You want it to, if it's going to pick it up, you want that weight to be suspended in the air as long as you can to try to get the wheels back down. And that gives a chance when the front goes up with all that weight, it hits the wheelie bar and then it'll settle back down, so that we're not doing a wheel stand all the way down. And you know, the estimated quarter mile for scale, the 220 or whatever they call it, the 440. So that's going to help get the front end back down so that we don't get air going underneath it when we get up to 50, 60 miles an hour. So, and that's where this front lip's going to come into play. So I'm going to angle that down along with this front lip that I left on this. This is all going to help push that front end down at speed once we get 20, 30 miles an hour. All that air, instead of going underneath, we want it to hit the top of the body and push this front down. And with the heavy oil, you also don't want to push it to the ground. So definitely heavy oil in the front. I ran an 80K up front, and then I ran a 20K in the rear to give me that squat and that immediate recover on the front. And as you see, my adjustment, it's all oil here, nice and slow. So, and in the rear, I got a lot of spring tension because when it squats, I want it to recoup and bring this back up. So, because I want it to get off the wheelie bar as fast as possible. So just a little update right there on how I'm setting up the car. I should have got some videos of the test run, but it's hard to hold the camera and run the car, but I will be getting them tomorrow for you. So I needed to get some test runs in to make the changes. The car did really, really well. I was really surprised. You guys are really gonna love this build. It goes straight as an arrow, and it held the wheels for probably about, I want to say 5 feet, and set it back down, and it was just straight. So diff, gearing, everything's working right now. Slipper clutch, I did tighten it up a little bit. I'm gonna throw, I think, a clear cover on here so that I can see what's going on in there, because these black covers you really can't see on the inside. So you really need to be able to see. I mean, I can adjust it by popping the rubber plug off, but I really like the clear ones by Proline. So I'm gonna see if I have one. I just don't know if it'll fit on this. It might be for a Rustler Trans, but I want to go ahead and check that and see if I can get that on there. But as you see, I cut there's the brackets on the floor for the onboard audio. I cut them, and then I put nuts on the back side, and then these have these O-rings, these sticky O-rings. Mine are still in good shape. So I'm gonna trim this one down on the edges, put some holes in it with my body thing, put it up front. It's gonna mount up in the front with the wire facing the other one this way, so that I can get this onboard audio system to work. I think it'll be pretty cool. I don't have the right remote with the switch here to put it into neutral. I have one somewhere. I might program that to this, or I'll just run it with that, because when you hit the throttle it works anyway. I don't really need neutral. The neutral works good because you can hold the trigger flat down, and then with that little red flip trigger, when the light goes green, you just flip it and you're full throttle. So it's like a two-step or an instant RPM drop. So that's what works good about that. So I might have it. I mean, I have, as you see, so many. I'm sure I have one somewhere in there. So I'm going to be lining it up against the JC Concept build that I did, because this is all proline. So I'm going to see what proline does against the JC Concept build, and we'll see which one's better. Should be a pretty fun build. I did bring my M3 into the garage. You guys have been seeing my silver car, but I got my M3 in the garage right now. Just took it out of storage for the summer months. So been driving it around. It's nice to have my nice car back. This one's got a splitter on the front too, as you can see, kind of like what I'm going to build on the drag cart. But I'll keep you updated. I'll cut the video together from the runs tomorrow. Just wanted to give you an update of what I'm doing tonight. All right, I'll see you guys on the run-in videos. For you, be right back. All right, I'm out here gonna give this thing a test. See how it's doing. I did install the onboard audio. So, let's see if I can record this and launch this thing. It's usually pretty hard, but I'll give it a shot. Nice and straight. Got it all dialed in, going nice and straight. God, this thing is fast and dialed in. These tires hook up pretty good too. Just like I said, it's not even on the back wheelie bar. Watch how this thing takes off. So this is on 3S. So this is on 3S. It gets up on the wheelie bar and sets right back down. But this car's doing really, really good. Nice and straight. Everything's dialed in. Hopefully, I was able to catch those launches. Launches really, really good.